All right, my fellow agents. It is I, X7, your master of martial arts. It is Shaolin Saturday. And today we are going to be talking about Bruce Lee's second movie because I like it way more than I like the first one. The Big Boss is just kind of sleazy. Sorry. It's just what it is. But Fist of Fury is a lot of fun. It's been remade, I don't know how many times, notably by Jet Li in Fist of Legend, which is a combination of this and Heroes of the East. But that's a good movie too. Jet doesn't spend so much of his movie on a wire, or at least his stunt double doesn't. Bruce doesn't use any wires at all. So, we'll discuss some of these things. And before we get too much further into it, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Bruce Lee, about his martial arts, about his movies, about how we all wish he'd have been more prolific and lived a lot longer, rich, full life. But alas, at least we got four movies, and well, four and a half if you count Game of Death, which, and I guess you could count the two Green Hornet movies, though they're not really starring him, no matter how much top billing they gave him. But and if you could watch this just a little longer than usual, it's not going to be too long of a review because the movie's pretty simple. But let's roll. I do believe this is a enhanced version of the original. It's not under the U.S. title, The Chinese Connection, which was supposed to be the Big Boss's title, and the Big Boss got titled Fist of Fury by accident. These things happen. So, yes, this is very well written out there. Anyway, the movie's based on is a book or a story by Ni Kuang, and this is the first portrayal of it. And there have been numerous film and adaptations of the book. I don't know. He did Wuxia, and he did Ni Kuang. Well, anyway, Wuxia and 300 Chinese language Wuxia and science fiction novels and 400 film scripts. So lots of stuff. Anyway, so it's not an original work, which might be why it works so much better than just something that they threw together to exploit Bruce's fame. So that tells you everything you need to know. Bruce arrives back from, or Bruce, pardon me, Chen Zhen arrives back to Shanghai to marry his fiancée, who's played by Nora Miao, but he finds that his master's died, allegedly from illness, but they don't know. Then he goes through the grief-stricken process. Then we get the credits here. Fist of Fury. Fighting instructor was credited to Han Ying-she, but it was also Bruce also did a lot of it. And directed by Lo Wei, who actually is in the movie, and we'll see him shortly. So this movie was released in China March 27, 1972. It was followed quickly into the U.S. by rapidly under the Chinese Connection name, which is how you'll hear the trailer or see the trailer. The budget was $100,000 U.S. It grossed $100 million. Kind of a success. It is a much better movie than The Big Boss. Just what it is. And Bruce just made better movies, and unfortunately, he died before he could even get too far into Game of Death. But we'll get into that someday. So there he is. That's his girlfriend, played by Nora Miao, or well, she's got another name in the credits, but her name is Yan Lur, but is never mentioned in the movie. So we'll go on from there. There's our second in command, who's pretty good at martial arts himself. They're trying to console him. They're having the paying respects, doing their remembrance of their teacher. The elder worship here is, well, to Westernize, it's a little overdone. Having studied martial arts, I get it, but I mean, the body is just a vessel. just a shell. It's not what makes the person the person. Anyway, enough Klingon philosophy. The Japanese show up to be insulting and try to instigate a fight there. And guess who wants to fight him? He is not nearly as peaceful as he was in The Big Boss. He is under no vow to not fight. So they bring back the sign which says, what does it say there? Let me scroll back up here. The sign says the sick man of East Asia. So they're making fun of him. This is when the Japanese had occupied at least Shanghai. So, they weren't looked upon favorably. Incredibly, this movie was a huge success in Japan because they just, they can differentiate between caricatures and, what the Chinese thought of them at the time. So, and Bruce is Bruce. I mean, he's just magnetic. And there's your dubbing. Now, this is the standard original dubbing. There probably is. I see that Criterion has like 3 dubs per movie now, or something, including like the original Mandarin Cantonese, maybe 2 dubs for English dubs. But this is the but still dub that we got from Hong Kong. Bruce is dubbed, even though I believe he said all of his lines in English anyway. But you must be tired of living. That's how many. If I had a nickel for every time they said that in a kung fu movie, I'd have $1 billion. You don't want to know where he's grabbing him. So just great shots of him, and he just lays waste to the entire school here. This copy came from the Internet Archive, but I don't know where it came from originally. Obviously, it's got the Fist of Fury title on it, so it's a redone opening credits. And this guy here looks like, I hope he doesn't hit me. He brings out the old nunchuck, or nunchucks if you want to say it incorrectly. And just, you do not want to get hit by anything on a chain when it's whipping around like that. And I'm sure these were just rubber, but I'm still sure that you don't want to get hit by rubber nunchucks either. So there you go. And that is not a ninja weapon, by the way. It is a Japanese weapon. So why the Chinese guy would be using it so well is beyond me. So, and he's pretty sure none of them could beat him up. Like, come on. So there's the chief there who gets walloped because he's older and just smacked around. So originally, the 2 Japanese students we're about to see here had said, if a Chinese man can beat us, we'll eat these words. Guess who gets to eat the words? And there we have Daimajin himself, Riki Hashimoto, who was we've talked about him originally. And go look up the Majin Monster of Terror episode we did. We are at 700 subscribers, so we're only 300 away from 1,000. Anyway, he did a bunch of, he did lots of, after he retired due to injury, he joined Daiei Studios, and these are his best known roles as Hiroshi Suzuki in this movie, and Daimajin, of course. Can't tell it's him in the Majin movies. This caused the audiences in Hong Kong to explode when this happened, because no dogs or Chinese allowed, and then he walks in with a dog, and then these Japanese want to go in, and Bruce loses it yet again, kicks the sign off there and destroys it. And from what we're told, the audiences exploded because they just lived through that. Still probably, well, not in 72, but had lived through it. And powerful scene. Now, the martial arts in here are, that these guys are doing are of the basher kind, really. There's Nora practicing hers. I don't know who the other women are. Blake May, I think. Maria Yi is one of them. But I don't know if they name the other one. Japanese show up looking for vengeance. And, of course, the fight begins. Once the second in command shows up, he just wallops people, chops them all over the place. They destroy the altar to the master, which is a huge thing in Asian cultures, and especially martial arts schools. And I believe that's James Tien, who was in many movies with Bruce Lee, he was in many movies that Lo Wei and Golden Harvest did with Jackie, and I think we've seen him with Angela Mao Ying as well. So they're like, we want him, come get him, or we'll get the police involved. So then he shows up and they're like, well, this is your fault. And it is because he's a hothead. But nobody blames him. So he's like, once again, she's trying to convince him. But then he finds out that these two, one's Japanese, the guy in the ribs because he's kicked him, and their cook poisoned their master. So he just, there's that punch. Holy crap. I mean, he makes it look powerful without killing the guy. So, but he kills the actor. And then he kills this guy, and he leaves a message for who is this? If I can find him, Tin Feng as Fan Chanxia, and he's the eldest student now. So he leaves a message saying, "I'm going out to find the killers." Naturally, the police get involved, and there's Lo Wei right there as the I think that's him. Well, we'll see him in a minute. They find the bodies, and now they're just going to blame us. So he's out there in the graveyard eating, and I don't want to know what animal he's caught and is cooking. Of course, Nora there finds him. Li finds him and tries to convince him to go back. They admit their love because that's his fiancée. Ricky is annoyed. Now there is Lo Wei, smoking, because lots of smoking. He goes to talk to the school, and now Suzuki, or no, that's not Suzuki. That's the sleazy Chinese translator for the Japanese. There's it's Paul Wei as Wu En, Suzuki's translator. That's Robert Baker there as Petrov, who's a Russian gang boss, and he's super strong, as we'll see. But this guy he's drunk, so he doesn't pay any attention to what's going on and who his I've drawn a blank at the name of that. His coolie is. Maybe that's not correct, but I believe that's what they were called. Then he realizes Chen's right there, and this is a nice thing. He picks it up and throws it, and then, of course, kills him. Punch. I mean, yeah, he punches him so hard he flies out of frame. And they find him hanging up there in the dawn. I like that shot of the sun. So, of course, they're going to go. Now he's demanding that the police do something. Yeah, yep. Now we've got and they tell him we're going to wipe out the school. Well, they haven't told him yet. But look who's also in disguise. So Bruce was using disguises here. We have talked about these scenes where he does this because it was featured in The Last Dragon. Once again, an homage to Bruce Lee more than anything else. A lot of fun movie, as I like it. She knows where he is, so Fan says, "Well, go tell him to give himself up." But now he's impersonating until he cuts the wires so he can get in, wearing the most obvious disguise. I mean, nobody could put on glasses and not know who you were under that, but. So I don't even know how he fakes it. So we get to see old Petrov there drive nails through the wood, bend iron bars, and Bruce is trying to find out their plans, which is smart. I mean, Chen Zhen is trying to find out their plans because he doesn't know anything about fixing telephones. And I'm sure they never did because he cut the wires. It wouldn't work anyway. She takes him to the graveyard, and while he's there, the other school, the Japanese school, sent all their people over to kill all the students, and Bruce shows up there, and he's not being no more Mr. Nice Guy. I mean, and even so, he still can't get these great shots of action. But here's our first sword fight, and he's doing he's relaxed, which means he's not worried. So he kicks the sword up, bends him over, and then he kicks him in the face one more time, or he actually punches him. And now Petrov is going to handle him. Like, I'll handle this. He doesn't say a word in the entire movie, I don't think. Maybe 2 words. But Bob Baker is pretty darn good as a martial artist. He does pull some of his kicks during this fight, but Bruce presents him as a credible challenge to Chen Zhen. I mean, he gets his licks in, but Bruce lightens up. He does his look. There's an arm bar, which once again mixed martial arts showing up. He does the old famous arm wave where everyone's parodied 1,000 times now, 1,000 if we're lucky. Uses his crossover thrust kick, but he's still going. And he finally gives him a boot to the head, and that's it. Suzuki now is, uh-oh, I'm in big trouble, foo. And he gets another katana out. Probably a samurai katana, which is is the sharpest blade. We've seen them all. We've seen the Highlander, right? There can be only one. It's not a very ornate one, though, so maybe not a true samurai blade, because he's not honorable like samurai should be. His mustache moves a bit every once in a while in the movie, but it's a good fight scene. Nunchucks come back out. Japanese weapon against Japanese weapon. He cuts him. So another boot to the head, kicks him clean out there. I don't know if that's Yen Biao or Jackie Chan flying through there. Blake, once again, thank you for being my source of knowledge. And he's dead. So, but now the band at the cemeteries come home, and they've killed the girls. They've killed, and Fawn is about to die too. And now they've got to figure out, what are they going to do? Because there's the cops along with an international consul, and they're like, "Go arrest him, or arrest somebody, or something." And then the inspector Low Wei, didn't want to forget his name, I guess. He's like, "Well, give us Chen, and we'll, Chen is here." So that's a great shot too. He says, they say their goodbyes, sort of. Now Bruce is still, he overacts a bit, and I believe that was just due to the nature of the silent. They shot it silently and then redubbed everything, right? And so he's saying goodbye, and tells him, if you have to leave these people alone once I give myself up. And we all know what happens. We get the whole Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid ending, which didn't happen in real life. And he leaps at the people. They're all got guns pointed at him, so we assume he dies. Now, in the 7 or 18 sequels, he's still alive. But Jackie Chan was the stunt double for Hiroshi Suzuki. It says right there in Wikipedia. And that's it. That's a great last shot. I mean, how else are you going to end the movie? So, Chen Zhen in Fist of Legend gets to leave. But that's it. That is our movie for today. And I really enjoy this. I watched this in 73, 2 years ago, when my friend Tara came out to see Enter the Dragon on its 50th anniversary. 50th anniversary. So we watched this the night before, and it was a lot of fun. She knows all the words to Enter the Dragon. I did an episode about that early on, but we'll review it again. So having said all that, and be that as it may, until our next assignment tomorrow, which is a sci-fi movie that is not from Sven, this is X7, signing off, phasing out.
He's unstoppable, unbeatable, unbelievable. He's Bruce Lee, the master of karate, kung fu, delivering that Chinese connection. Bruce Lee, the Oriental superstar who exploded across the screens of America in the phenomenally successful Fists of Fury, is back to defend the honor of his nation and the love of his woman. Using his furious fists and superhuman strength, he breaks them up, smashes them down, and kicks them apart. Bruce Lee, the karate kung fu king, delivers the death blow of the Chinese Connection.